As humans, we love to know how something will end before we even start it. We love predictable outcomes, but that's not how life is. If you keep waiting to know how things will end even before you start something, then you may actually never start anything. The lie most of you have told yourself is that your success depends solely on your capability, on what you have, on your talent, or the things you possess. But that's not true. Most of you have lied to yourself, and that's what is limiting you. You think if you look a certain way, or if you had a particular thing, then you would succeed in life, but that's not true. Sometimes your greatest limitation is your mind. It is what you have fed yourself. You think you stand no chance of winning in life just because there's something you don't have, or because you don't look a certain way. Look, that might be man's logic. That might be what so many people told you. But that's not how God works. God has the power to see aside all of that. God doesn't look for the finest amongst us. He doesn't look for the finest to release his blessings. He doesn't look for the one with most talent when he wants to release his blessings. God doesn't look for the brightest or the smartest. He doesn't look for the strongest. God comes to find the one willing to obey his instructions, the one willing to obey and follow all his commands. You don't have to possess anything. People may have cancelled you, but God hasn't. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 27 says, "But God choose what is foolish in the world to shame the wise. God choose what is weak in the world to shame the strong." This means that you can't tell for sure how God will move or act. You can't predict God. His ways are not our ways, and this is why you should ignore people's opinion about you and focus on following God's instructions. We can't predict God's next move. He can decide to pick anyone from the crowd. So every time you think too little of yourself, you are wrong. God doesn't care about people's opinion, but he cares about your own opinion about yourself. God cannot give you great things if you think you don't deserve it. So mind what you think about yourself. God chooses things that the world considers foolish in order to shame those who think they are wise. You might have a goal, a dream, a vision, or idea that everyone considers foolish, but don't throw it away. God will use the foolish things to shame those who think that they are wise. People may have mocked you because they think you are weak. They think you have a weak talent, and they think it can't take you far in life. But God uses the weak things of the world to shame the strong. So even if people tell you that you can't amount to anything in life, ignore them, because God's ways are unpredictable, and he can use even your smallest talent to bless you and take you to the top. It doesn't matter what people have labeled you. It doesn't matter what they have called you. So long as you believe in God and have faith in yourself, and you are willing to use that little thing in your hand, then God can use you. He can multiply that small thing in your hand. He can take you places where people thought you would never reach. God doesn't decide to bless people because they are qualified to receive his blessings. He chooses anyone and qualifies that person. God can use anyone. The same way God can use that wealthy businessman is the same way he can use that young homeless man with a willing heart. The same way God can use that great man of God is the same way he can use that known sinner. God can use even a drug addict to lead people who have never committed any crime to turn to Christ. So stop questioning yourself and wondering if God can bless you just because you think you are not qualified. Do you think because you have made few mistakes in the past that God has disqualified you? Do you think that God cannot choose you because of something you did or something you don't have? It doesn't matter how messed up your past is. It doesn't matter if you had sex outside the context of marriage. It doesn't matter if you used to be a drug addict. It doesn't matter if you used to be a pornography addict. It doesn't matter if you had a child outside wedlock. It doesn't matter how your life used to be. God can still choose you. Paul killed Christians. He did so many things, but God chose him. Paul was a persecutor of Christians, but God chose him. God chose him to lead those same Christians. God's ways are unpredictable. There's no one that God cannot use. There is really nothing you have done that can stop God from choosing you, so long as you are willing and ready to answer when He calls. You don't have to condemn yourself. You don't have to despair. You don't have to wear that wrong label anymore. You don't have to lose faith in yourself, because God can still choose you. He can still release His blessings to you. He can still give you victory. Dare to trust God against all odds. Goliath, a giant and the champion of the Philistines, challenged the Israelites to send out their champion, their strongest and bravest warrior. But none of them thought they had the ability to fight Goliath. And when David stepped out, I can imagine what people thought. No one expected him to win. People were so sure that Goliath was going to take David down in seconds. But God had His own plans. He wanted to show them that He can use anyone. David, a little boy with no strong weapons or armor, fought Goliath and he won. This is because God wasn't looking for the bravest or strongest warrior. He was just looking for someone dedicated and willing, someone ready to answer when He called, someone who can trust and believe in Him. By everyone's standard, David didn't stand a chance, but against all odds, God gave him victory over a situation that seemed impossible. And God can do the same for you. All you have to do is be willing and trust Him. Remove the limitations. Disregard what people may have told you. God loves you just the way you are, and He can bless you no matter what. Against all odds, God can give you victory. So don't lose your faith in God and keep believing in yourself.